Hi guys, and welcome back to another class video for Ruins of Elliwar. Today we're going to be going over the Dark Knight, one of the three tanks in the game, the others being Paladin and Warrior. Let's go ahead and go over to our old training bee here. And you can see we have two characters here. We have Adrian and Lake Ledane, and that is because the Dark Knight has some abilities that are used on other characters. So we're going to go ahead and just guard here with Adrian, and let's look at the skills. First we have Sorrow Strike, which is an ability that just does physical damage to an enemy and leeches a portion of the damage that you did by as health. Which I should say, this is also changed for the purposes of this video to have an enormous life leech. I think it's 500% right now, but that's only to showcase some of the abilities. In the actual game, it will not be that much at all. Heart Strike, this does a very high amount of damage, but takes 20% of your current HP, or max HP. Blood Wraith, which is a aura that hits all players, and it does makes it so when other players do damage to an enemy, it heals them for a small amount of the damage done. Engulfing Darkness is an AoE ability that puts a dot on enemies that can stack up to twice and deals dark damage. Soul Strike takes 20% of your mana, and not only does a high amount of damage, it also puts a dot on the enemy that, when it does damage, leeches some of the damage back to you. Occult Ward is the Dark Knight's taunt. Each tank will get one taunt, and they all do different things. For the Dark Knight, the taunt makes the next three turns worth of magical damage instead directed to the Dark Knight. And for the purposes of this video, it will negate all damage. In the live game, it will negate 50% of the damage. And all magic costs that were spent, say the enemy spell took 10 mana, it will absorb that and give you back 10 mana as well. So the mana that you get back will let you do more soul strikes if you time it correctly, as well as using Blood Wraith and Sorrow Strike correctly will give you the HP necessary to use Heart Strike. We also have Blood Gorge here, which gives the Dark Knight an aura for a while that all self overheals will grant you a absorb barrier. And what that does is absorb barrier has to be broken through before your health can actually be damaged, except for things like Heart Strike. So although, say you have a 500 HP barrier on you, Heart Strike will still go through that and use your HP, so you can't use that to negate your Heart Strike damage. So let's go ahead and see some of these skills in action, although just to let you know, this is an alpha, so all the animations are going to be changed, and this is just a basic idea here. So some of these skills are grayed out. That's because Blood Wraith, Occult Ward, and Blood Gorge all take relic points to use. So we'll go ahead and just attack the bee a little bit so we can get some relic points here. Go ahead and use that, and we'll start off with let's do a Blood Wraith. And we'll attack with Adrian up here. And you can see now Adrian will leech some of the damage done. It's not a lot, but it helps the group out to level out healing. So we'll go ahead and just guard for a couple turns here so I can get some more relic points. And also, you don't have to guard to get relic points. It's any action. You get one relic point per turn, unless it's granted to you by some abilities such as the Bard has. So we'll use two more, and we'll go ahead and use Blood Gorge here. Now that's giving me a ability, as you can see right over here, for the next 5 turns, that the overhealing I will do, which is going to be a lot because, well, it's made for this video. So you can see up here that I now have that much of my HP as a absorb barrier, which the enemy will need to get through to even attack me. So we'll go ahead and get a little bit more gauge here. And now I'll use Occult Ward. Now what this will do is make the enemy spells be directed to Lake or whoever is the Dark Knight using the ward, and it will take the MP cost of the spell and give it to me. So I have 117 mana right now. Let's see how this works. See, that's directed towards me, and I gain 6 mana out of it. So those are the basic abilities, other than we haven't seen Heart Strike or Engulfing Darkness, but those are just your basic dots here. Oh, and Soul Strike, which we'll put in a dot, and will heal me for the damage of the dot. And that's the basic idea of a Dark Knight in this game. The idea is to balance your HP with the damage you do, because Heart Strike does do a lot of damage, but it does take a lot of your HP. And as well as Occult Ward is a very strong taunt. It will take all magic directed at the party for 3 turns and take 50% of that damage away and direct it only to the tank. Incredibly strong. And as well as Soul Strike does take 20% of your mana, but that damage over time that heals you is very potent and it lasts quite a long time. So if you can balance your health and mana correctly with all of this, plus use Blood Wraith as a good buffer to keep your HP of your party up, the Dark Knight's a very good class that does a good amount of damage for a tank. And that'll be all for this video. Stick around and subscribe if you like this video and like to find out more of Ruins of Elliwar. The next video will be about the Paladin.